Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another tutorial. Today we'll be talking about how to make a feature-based intro, this time with a vocal chop. Before I show you the previews, there's actually going to be two different previews, both with the same chords and melodies and stuff like that. But one has an ARP and the other one has more of like a picking rhythmic guitar or whatever you want to call it. Before I kind of show you the previews, I want to do a big shout out to Amadeus for helping me out with the vocal chop, vocal ad-lib, as well as the ARP melodies and stuff like that. And then also Caslow, or Nat from Caslow, who helped me out with the guitar. Both are very talented artists, so if you're looking for like a coaching session or anything like that from them, I both recommend them both. It just really depends on what your preferences are and what you're looking for. But again, both of them are very talented artists and have a lot to offer. All right, let's go ahead and get started, and I'll show you the previews. Let's get into it. All right, we're going to go ahead and start with the rhythmic guitar one.
You never talked about it, said you had to leave. It was over within minutes and I couldn't speak.
All right, and now I will show you the one with the ARP.
You never talked about it, said you had to leave. It was over within minutes and I couldn't speak.
So yeah, both of them can technically work. It's kind of just up to your personal preference. I kind of like the guitar one because it kind of added more of like a human touch and more emotion, rather than the ARP. I also really liked because I really liked the notes that I was playing. So up to your taste. I don't think one is better than the other. It just really depends on what you prefer. All right, so before we kind of like go into like how I created this intro, I wanted to share a tip that actually Nurko gave me when creating these type of intros. Basically what he told me was, have your own reference track in here. So let's just say, for example, that I'm just going to use one of his tracks. I don't even know if I have the right BPM, but at least you guys get the, basic idea. Basically kind of like listen to what they have in the intros and kind of like recreate it, but obviously, with your own touch, just kind of using their idea as like inspiration, and then you turn into like what you want to turn into. So yeah, you kind of like listen to like, he has like some guitar elements, like some kind of reversing, like synth or whatever. And then you have the vocal ad-lib and kind of like just like break it down and like add those certain elements to your track and stuff like that. But, I didn't really do this with this track in particular because I already had like an idea down. But, that basically give you I thought that was a really good tip that you can try out too, if you like. But yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and get into this. First thing first is, I guess we'll go ahead and look at the vocal chop here. So pretty much it's just originally I didn't really have any of this stuff here. I just kind of had this note here, and then I kind of had Amadeus' help once again. Big shout out to him, and he kind of showed me or helped me out basically and kind of turned it into a melody. So pretty much this is actually from a vocal. Let me just turn off all the processing and stuff so you guys can actually hear it. So pretty much Amadeus said, he really liked that note right there. That note. Let me just turn on all the processing again. And then pretty much from there we left that note, and rather than playing it again, because it'd be kind of, it would kind of just like repeat itself if we were to play it again. It wouldn't really sound as interesting. I guess I'll just play it in context. So yeah, like originally we were kind of building it out, and the reason why it was like it sounded good, but you kind of lose a little bit of interest when you hit the same note again on the third bar there. So rather than doing that, we basically just lowered down 2 semitones. I don't know exactly what the notes are. You're welcome to figure it out on your own, but basically it's in the key. So that's basically when it added some variation and actually could, at least in our opinion, keep the listener interested. Once again, this is what it sounds like altogether. And then for the processing, I put this little altar board. I didn't really do much here. since I already kind of changed the pitch and stuff in the original sample, but I just kind of used it for the drive. And then, see, I basically pitched everything up 12 semitones, and then this one again was 10. And then just add a decapitator for some more like distortion or saturation, whatever you want to call it. Not too much. And then what really kind of gave it that kind of like muffled or whatever classic future bass kind of sound is really just the phone EQ or bandpass, basically without it. So everything kind of just like, you know, goes, you know, it's not as like muffled or whatever. And then with it on, so yeah, it's kind of like gives it that like radio phone kind of like, you know, sound. Additionally, you don't have to do it as aggressive. I liked it like this more, but you can also do a less aggressive cut. It'll kind of show some more frequencies, but it also works too. But for me personally, I really wanted that like muffled sound, so I just did this. And then I just have some delay, nothing too crazy, and Valhalla room quite a bit, just because it's more like a background, like ad lib, you know, ambient thing. But yeah, that's I think really it for the processing for this. And then next up is I have a piano here. This is actually one of my favorite chord stacks that I've actually ever made. It was the first time that I've ever been able to like create a chord stack that like I really resonate with and really like, you know, comes from the heart and what I really, you know, the feel that I wanted to give and stuff like that. But yeah, more or less this is a keyscape piano. I just really used the standard like cinematic one here. I added a velocity, or you can even use the piano one, which literally gives you the same result. You know, just kind of changes the, so it's not basically played at all one stagnant note. You know, they all have like different velocity when it's played. One more tip that I like to give, especially to make it more human, is even like, you know, making them play at different times or strum, which I think I might have did. Yeah, so yeah, I kind of did right there. Again, I think there's actually a way where you can do it through Ableton with using some like, you know, plugins or whatever. Right? I forgot, but I did this one manually. But again, it's just more of to give it more of like a human, you know, emotional touch to your stuff. And basically, these are the notes playing C minor. The D is the minor, and then kind of gives it that like that feel right there, is because I believe this is a seventh, the D. And then, you know, maybe as you've seen on my other previous videos, you know, it's very safe to say that you can play the 1 and 5 of the chord, you know, without it sounding really weird or like kind of cluttery. Because generally, you know, again, the 1 and 5 are of the key are the safe notes of the key. So this is the key B flat, or I think, you know, A sharp. I think it's actually called B flat though, for in terms of like classical theory's sake. But basically, this is the 1 is the B flat, and then F is the 5. And I basically just have those playing through every chord. And then I think this is just a major, aside from the F, I believe. Actually, no, this is just like, I believe, your major. Then you have your sus. This is what that dissonance or whatever kind of gives it that, again, that feel. So yeah, this is like one of my favorite chord stacks I've made, and you know, a lot more to come, you know, as I keep improving as an artist and stuff like that. And then processing, I don't really do much. It's just again, the velocity, some basic EQ to cut off the lower end, just a little bit of OCT, and then some Valhalla room or reverb. That's really it. And then here I just have this like atmosphere patch of a guitar. Ideally, again, you probably want your like recording your own guitars, because it always gives like a more human touch. And I just like the tone and the sounds of a, you know, more real guitar over kind of like using a plugin. But plugins work just fine too. That's just my own personal preference, you know. But for this one, I just used this guitar pick jazz on Atmosphere. That's what it sounds like. I just put some compression on it and some EQ, and then reverb, and then some more compression. Yeah, pretty basic stuff, I would say. And then I guess I can go over the notes of this guitar and the ARP too. The guitar, Nat or from Caslow already processed everything. So if you want to learn how to process your guitars and stuff like that, they actually have a video, and I think I will leave a link in the description below, so you guys can check it out on how to process your guitars if you play guitar. But yeah, this basically, the notes it's playing is literally just playing following the chords. So I think it's playing the root note of the chord C, and then D, and then following the root note of the D sharp chord, and then the D. Same thing with the A sharp, the D, and then I think it's also following the sus. Either he's playing the C or the A. I can't remember which one it was. So yeah, if we kind of test the notes here. Yeah, so he's playing the D. He's playing the D. Again, for the root notes, is the same. Also playing the D. So he's playing, actually, rather than playing the C, he's playing the sus. So yeah, and again, it works because it's basically literally just following along the chords, basically. And yeah, that's really it for all the guitar right there. And then next is if you like the ARP more, this is actually the ARP here. The notes it's playing is basically just the safe notes in a different octave. So you're playing the A sharp, which is the 1, going down to the A sharp at a lower octave, and then the F, the 5, and then A sharp, and literally just repeating it the whole entire thing. And I think one really important thing is adding movement into your track, because without these rhythmic elements, it kind of be a little bit stale. So it would probably work if you probably had a bit of a more rhythmic vocal chop or ad lib or something like that, or but in this case it's actually pretty slower paced ad lib, so that's why adding these certain rhythmic things can definitely help add some more interest into your intro. So in this one particular with the ARP, there's actually some modulation with the decay, and then some auto filter as well, basically just to kind of give it movement. And then if we were just to if we didn't have any automation, it'd probably work, but it wouldn't give that same motion. It works, but it just doesn't give you that same kind of you get the idea. It basically doesn't kind of show or kind of let the listener know that something new is basically coming in. That's basically the idea of the automation and stuff. But yeah, this is literally just a towel patch. I think it was the brass or something. Brass, BRS, brass 2. Didn't really do much to it, honestly. Might have just lowered the decay, or basically, again, we just modulated or did some automation on the decay. Really basic EQ, cutting out the lows, some auto filter, again for the automation, and then basically cutting out some frequencies at the top because it was pretty harsh up there, and then just basically just kind of drowned it in reverb because it's more like an ambient kind of thing. And yeah, that's kind of it for the ARP right there. And then for the effects, we pretty much have some basically, also shout out to Nurko for showing me basically the foundations of how to make these future-based intros and stuff like that. But yeah, basically I got this idea from Nurko. Again, the reference track was also from Nurko, but he also showed me like, kind of using like ambience or natural like ambiences and stuff like that. This is from Kashmir's, I think, Sounds of Kashmir Volume 3, and it just sounds like this. I think it adds a lot, especially like with the guitar. I actually didn't really include it in the ARP one because I felt like it didn't really fit as well, just because it was, this has more human elements versus an ambience versus the ARP was kind of like more, even though it's more like vintage analog kind of feel. So, but yeah, so that just basically kind of, I feel like it kind of adds some energy a little bit. And additionally, there's another one too, this little thing here. This little atmosphere patch, and it's called the Haunted Harpsichord or whatever. And basically, Nurko actually showed me this one during a session. But yeah, you basically would just kind of like click the textures playable, and then just kind of like sift through all the sounds that you like. And the great thing about the textures playable is that you can basically just you're able to play like the note, the sound should play the note, the correct note and stuff like that. And then for processing, pretty basic. Nurko actually taught me this trick by using double the fucking reverb. But yeah, first we have a Valhalla room, just drenched basically. The pre-delay at 0, much decay, some EQ just to get the frequencies that we want, and then it's just another Valhalla shimmer just to make it more more atmospheric basically. But even though these are like very subtle things, I feel like it definitely adds to the track and almost like adds a bit more energy or more appealing interest to it. So I'm gonna play it without it, and then we'll also play with it. And then playing with it, again, very subtle, but I feel like it definitely adds. So yeah, very subtle difference again, but I think just really adding these definitely like adds like the cherry on the top or whatever you want to call it. Basically like kind of finishes up, and like, because technically it could work without those effects, but again I feel like they just kind of add a bit to the intros basically. And also I forgot on this one too, it's just basically a bunch of reverb on it as well, just to kind of like keep it going and make it more atmospheric. And then I have these transitions here. It's basically just like your basic reverse or vocal reverse thing that I made. It's basically just taking like the root note, because I'm basically playing the root note here, and I just found like the U in the vocal sample. Took that U, playing the root note, reversed it, drenched it in reverb, froze it, flattened it, basically turning it to audio or a sample, and then reversed it again, and basically got that result. And then have the crash transition here. Pretty standard. And then I forgot notes playing for this one is playing the 5th, playing the F, or the 5, sorry. I just like this note in particular, not really any particular reason why I chose it, just because it kind of gave me that feel, or added that feel that I was looking for. You're welcome to experiment with other notes that you like. But again, yeah, the F or the 5 is a very safe note. And then we have these vocal atmospheres here. Basically one is playing the root note, which is the 5, or should it be playing? Yeah, one is playing the root note, which is the 1, excuse me, which sounds like this. And then this one's playing the 3 of the key. I chose the 3 in particular because I like the tension that it added. Technically, you can even try doing the 4. Sorry, the 5. And it's, but it's very subtle. But I kind of like the tension that the 3 of the key gave more. So yeah, that's pretty much that for the atmosphere. And then we have this like vinyl crackle here. Yeah, and I think that's gonna be it for this tutorial. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't yet. Also, please hit the bell notification symbol so you know when my next video goes live. I'll definitely be posting more tutorials like this. So anything future-based related and basically my own personal journey as an aspiring game artist, I'm going to share on this channel. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't yet. And then please follow me on social media. I post like shorter form music production tips on there, on my TikTok, Instagram, and stuff like that. And then also please join the Discord as well if you're trying to create a community where we can all kind of help each other grow musically, perhaps even mentally and stuff like that. So if that's something you are interested in, feel free to join. Again, I'll leave all the links in the description below. All right. Thank you so much again for watching. Until next time, much love. Peace out.